they have failed to meet those so far, and what do you know? Now they get to have a battle of who can disappoint the least, in a sense, by beating out the other team who didn't perform well either. And it's on Chalet.
Yeah, so we're going to territory familiar to both of these teams, but it's not something either of them has played very much this stage. I mean, Soniqs, they played both Parabellum and SSG on Chalet. Soniqs losing to Parabellum and beating SSG just last week. And, well, in terms of our bans, we already have a pretty clear picture as to what we're going to see. The Nook ban coming out is something that we don't see very often, but when we do, it's usually on Bank, not usually on a map like Chalet.
Oh, Alibi actually is a story of its own, because Alibi's ban rate, if I had to take a guess, it's like one of the lowest banned operators in the entirety of Pro League across like every year combined. Like, it is not an operator you see played, or sorry, banned, however, ever. It is played. So, spicy stuff, I guess, if you're not sure if that's like a direct target ban, or if it's more of like a, this is not a huge deal, it's the last game of the stage and not a qualifier for us. But the Nook we do see on Bank, we see it a little bit on Chalet, but not a crazy ton. This does mean, of course, that the Mirror is open, that the Maverick is open, which means the Basement bomb site can get a little bit funky, whereas if the Maverick is banned or the Mirror is banned, Basement becomes like weird for both the attackers and the defenders. So we'll see what the bomb site prioritization looks like, but so far it is TSM on the defensive side, starting in the kitchen of all areas. So normally you're gonna extend up one floor when you're on Chalet, or one room over. So in this case, if you are playing kitchen, you'll extend up into master bedroom office, and you can extend over in towards that bar area, playing vertically onto library from below.
Yeah, the extension on this entire top floor is, of course, important. Both of the rooms directly above the site are very powerful if the attackers can take that control, but generally we will see attacking teams put the focus in office. If you do want to go for a dining plant, that is, get the dining wall open and just go for the default spot there, it's really just important that you take control of office. You don't have to work your way to the other side of the top floor, because office is really just the amount of control you need, the bare minimum, to allow you to alleviate the vertical pressure held by the defense. Of course, we could see a lot of other things from the Soniqs. They could work their way in from the Solarium side, take Master instead, and clear out everyone on that top floor. But I do feel like more often than not, attacking teams will try to shortcut it a little bit by opening up that office wall and just leave it at that.
I also think that when you're playing with a sub player, even though Goddess is your coach and she is a former Pro League player herself, keeping things simple and kind of default, if you will, might be the way forward. You don't want to get too complicated because things are already kind of getting shaken up. You do have a quote-unquote new player on your roster in that regard that has to learn everything from the player point of view, because coaching a team doesn't mean you know how to play with the team. You don't build that same kind of synergy, but at least you know how people communicate, what the strats are, etc. You just got to get that rust off and try to get into the server. Ganes is on the hard support right now on the Hibana. That's going to give you a ton of value with both the flashbangs and the X-Kyro pellets. Can do a ton of destruction on the walls. And already now we see the pellets starting to fly out and destroying that office wall you mentioned earlier.
Well, speaking of getting the rust off, I think Bolo will be looking to do that as early on as he can in this map. As we've talked about and our analysts mentioned, Bolo has not been having a stage to remember. Actually, one of the bottom 5 players, bottom 3 players even in the entire NAL, and we normally think of Bolo as a, prestigious fragger that is at the top of the scoreboard, but he's looking to make a big impact to kick off this map. Instead, it's actually Soniqs who kick off the map with a kill. Onto Merc, removing the Oryx and isolating these players one by one.
It was interesting because there was a nade being cooked out, but then they stopped, so the communication came in through Soniqs that the nade wasn't needed. The gun can just get the kill instead, save that piece of utility. Now, Gio on this clash might be troublesome because it's hard to get rid of that position, and Bolo on the shield as well can hold on strong with a bit of support.
Oh, Achieved going down, unable to provide the support from behind. Gio is trying to, get involved and support it on the clash, but that's very hard to do. Just undeploying that shield, whipping out the gun, and doing the job the old-fashioned way to take down Yeti. That's something for Gio, but Grixer answering one back. Chala down below will trade that out onto Super. That turns us back into an even 2v2. Chala, who is, well, I was going to say, isolated at the front of the site, he's now no more. It's all up to the clash. Generally a position, well, that no one would envy. Gio is going to have to do this one, well, with his gun in hand. You cannot afford to take a 2v1 with a shield in front of your face. He'll take the first 1v1. He'll look to take the second and nearly wins it out, but Grixer still at 2 HP. He swings the corner and gets owned. Gio takes them both down. A beautiful 1v2 clutch to kick off the map.
You really don't want to see a clash, 1 versus X ever, because your whole gadget and concept of why you pick up the operator goes out the window, right? Because you don't pick the Clash for the weapon, but for the annoyance, the saps, the slowdown, and the information gain, being like a walking tank on defense. So when you see the Clash being the last remaining defender in a 1 versus 2 of all things, you're thinking, oh snap, this is not what we wanted, but Geo somehow makes it work. And there is that, there was that old phrase from Canadians saying, you're beep as boop and you're playing Twitch Geo, you know?
Nice. Well, I think it's interesting the impact that Geo made there, because it really didn't have anything to do with the fact that he was Clash. I mean, really, the Clash strat on the top floor was a miss. It just didn't work. I mean, the defenders up there that were not the Clash got forced out very quickly, and Geo could do almost nothing to support them. There was very little time delay. It added almost nothing. He was only able to make the impact when he actually had the gun in his hand, and he found 3 of the kills in that round, 1 earlier up top and then 2 down below. So maybe we'll see them stay away from the Clash in the future. At least they will for this basement defense. We're going to Wine Cellar and Snowmobile Garage next. Geo, we can see, taking up the Kaid, those Electro Claws instead of that, well, Electric Shield.
I believe I got my Canadian codes mixed up because it was, you're playing Twitch, Geo, you're playing Twitch. And the thing is that the, I don't know what the name is, but Clashes, like secondary SMG or whatever, is basically like a mini F2. So it's almost like a mini Twitch situation again. And of course, when you're Geo, being a former Twitch main, you should be very comfortable in that position. That being said, we are in the basement. We are seeing TSM getting active on the roam, extending around the map as usual. We see Bowl on the bar, Child on the blue stairs, trying to get some drones and gain some map control or hold on, while Geo is tricking with the Kite Claw below, but this wall will get opened up with the Kite Claw, or sorry, with the Kite Claw being thrown out a little bit too late. Clears the second part of the cell map, but the first initial opening is there. That means Soniqs get lines of sight, and they get side pressure with that as well.
Exactly. It's going to be so much more difficult for TSM to move around the site. Really impossible at this point if they want to rotate through Garage or even that blue hall leading down from those blue stairs all the way into Wine Cellar, because, again, the Soniqs now have that cutoff to prevent those rotations. They can't get themselves into Garage easily until more holes actually open up on that wall, as Yeti should be able to do with another Selma he's got in pocket, or potentially Goddess could rotate around and use those X-Kairos pellets to do the job. But for now, the Soniqs not turning their attention towards Garage, trying to take the rest of the map control and actually pivoting over to the Wine Cellar side of the map.
Yeah, so the opening on Snowmobile was more matter of like getting that single opening that they got. So success from Soniqs. Now all about the backside. Bringing double hard breach in both Ace and the Ibanez. Not something that we typically see from Soniqs. Normally, when Maverick is open, we see Yeti on that operator. So a bit of a turn for the side of Soniqs here with different operator lineup. Of course, Super himself looking to get active with Twitch of all operators. A rare sight to see.
Yeah, trying to maybe get a bit aggressive and find some frags. Not generally what he's known for, but, well, it'll be fun to see him light up the scoreboard if he can. Goddess, going for this plant. TSM...
It's free real estate.
Yeah, it's free real estate. TSM are not making a move. The coverage from Soniqs is sufficient to allow the bomb to go down. Bolo will take out Yeti as the flurry of engagements begins, but now the real engagements have to get started because TSM have to retake. Bolo's cut down good coverage from Grixer. Chala gets one, but again, it's going to be quickly traded. It is all up to Achieved, who's on the top floor. He's going to have to work his way all the way back down to the basement. He only has 20 seconds and he has 2 kills to find. Both players just staying patient, trained on this position. All they have to do is prevent Achieved from getting on this defuse, and with 10 seconds left, it looks like they've done their job. Achieved will seek a couple of engagements here, but really, he had no shot either way. Grixer is the one to actually get the kill, and Soniqs will quickly equalize.
And it doesn't look like Goddess has missed a step in her career, because she comes back in second round. She's already planting in the middle of the bomb site, recognizing this site is actually free by getting information with the drones and saying, you know what, no one can really stop me if I just go for the plant here. She did just that. Diffuser goes down. Post plant is played nicely. In that 2v1, discipline was being had. And that is very crucial, because if you don't have discipline, that is how you throw those 1 rounds, because a post plant heavily favors the attackers. That now leads us to bar. We're going through the motions. Kitchen, basement, bar. TSM trying to figure out exactly what they prefer, and I don't think that's a bad approach at all. You do have a couple operators available to you that normally we don't see a lot of play. Merc now on the Mira is one of those operators that Mira gets played by some teams and then never played by others. And it really has a mixture of success, because I don't think it's one of those operators anymore where when you pick the Mira, attackers don't know what to do about it. Often what happens is that when you play the Mira, defenders will play behind it and you just die to a nade below because you feel so comfortable. So sometimes the mirror as an operator and the gadgets he provides is almost like a false sense of security, when in reality you're an easy kill if you can coordinate around it correctly.
Definitely agree with that, because you can get a little bit comfortable behind the shield, but I can't forget how intimidating as an attacker it is to stare a Black Mirror in the face, not knowing what's sitting behind it, right? I mean, obviously, if you've got that intel, like you said, if your intel is spick and span on the attack, no problem. But if intel is a little bit of an issue and maybe you don't have a drone in a certain position, well, it's terrifying to push into library, for example, if there's a mirror in front of your face.
Yeah, what was it CJ said? He said Siege is 87.1% intel or something like that?
Something like that.
Something like that.
Number in the 80s.
In other words, intel is extremely pivotal. It is so important, and it's also why Kansan on this floor is here brings so much value, because you get 2 regular drones, you get 4 Retero drones. Super on Twitch, you get 1 regular drone in drone phase, and you get 2 Twitch drones as well. That C4 right there gets you some information that, hey, there was 2 people out there, 1 goes down, 1 takes damage, and sure, Finger can boost up the numbers of Goddess, but he cannot revive the dead.
Mark is trapped in a corner and is still fragging out. I mean, he got the first Nitro Cell kill, then he pops up and takes care of Kansan. Finally, Goddess will step up and get a trade onto Merc, but at the price of 2 of her teammates. You've lost Kansan, you've lost Yeti. Losing your sledge here is a big problem because of the importance of vertical destruction on this site, and that now may force Soniqs to pivot a little bit. Do they go through the effort of forcing out Bolo and clearing out this top floor for good, or do they just give up and go more horizontal? We see Goddess dropping off the roof, and I think we've got our answer.
Yep, it's like now the damage is done. We can't really clear all of top floor left. And when Grixer and Super, they aren't really nearby either. Goddess has no help on this side of the map anymore, and that just means that she has to go somewhere else. Try and find her troops, her allies, capitalize together somewhere horizontally instead. And Grixer, you got a tall task ahead of you, but you got the nade, you got the utility, you got the weapon, but the nade, it actually hits. I thought it missed for a second. That's the weapon that they need.
That's a really good kill. It's going to force these TSM defenders to scramble around, and Bolo, well, he's caught with his pants down. He picked up a kill onto Super, but again, quickly traded, achieved, lines up Grixer, barely staying alive, but it's Chala to close things out with a nice kill. TSM hanging on to that one. A strong top floor hold, but it really was Merc who started that round off with a bang.
It was. It really was. And Thorn's weapon right there kind of showing us just how good it is. One of the few weapons on defense that can compete statistically with the attacking guns in terms of raw damage throughput. We saw it there. LMG Finger is normally not a fight that you can win, but with the right weapon and the right aim, you definitely can. It was a nice try from Grixer. He found the openings, found the nade, pushed through, got 2 kills in a row very shortly together. It wasn't enough, and TSM to take their second defending victory, and they go back to kitchen. No Master Bedroom getting played so far. This time, small adaptation. Geo is off the clash onto mute, and we got Merc sticking the mirror, which is different than the last time they went in this bomb site.
I am glad we don't have the clash again, as we talked about after that first round. The fact that Geo was a clash really had nothing to do with his success in the round. So now he'll be hoping to make just as much of an impact on a different role. And like you said, good to see the presence of the mirror here as well, because Merc, as we saw in that last round, not only was able to thrive with that kit, that C4 and that Vector, but was able to provide his teammates with a lot of intel and a lot of just powerful positioning that they could hold and maintain for as long as the round continued.
I fully agree. I think Merc is the strongest and the scariest when you give him an operator that you can put down all your stuff in the prep phase and just do whatever in the active phase. We're talking the Jaeger, the Vigil, etc. Because if you put Merc on, let's say Smoke, he has to sit back and hold himself, being passive or disciplined, because you can't lose those toxic babes, you can't lose all that piece of utility. Give him Mira, put down the gadget, you have a C4, you have a great weapon. Sure, you're a 1-speed, but if you play in a corner, you don't need to move a whole lot. You gotta take the gunfights, and Merc, he does just that again, finding Yeti. That is off the mirror window inside a bar, it seems. Got an easy pickings. It's Yeti off the board. It's a Maverick. 2 nades gone. And that's Merc when he's his scariest.
You predicted that beautifully, Nick. And the fact that Merc set up that Black Mirror all the way on the game side of things. I mean, he was down in bar stock, looking into games, and we're not even on the right side of the map here. This is a kitchen and dining defense. Likely, Yeti completely caught off guard. Same thing goes for Bolo. He's holding Chimney. He's holding a position you would commonly see on a bar and games defense. Now when we're defending kitchen and dining, and he is cleaning clock right now. He's doing a great job here on this position. I guess Super and Kansan don't seem to care. They'll just entry elsewhere and take out Merc down below. Chala as as well. So Bolo, he'll likely have to get back to the site because his team is being torn to pieces. Bolo, as he rotates back, will take down Super and eventually recover at least one of those deaths, returning us by default to a 2 versus 2, but he's still hanging on to this top floor position, doesn't want to give it up too easily.
And they got Diffuser. I believe Diffuser's down, has been downed upstairs on the map, if I'm not mistaken, which means TSM are in full control. Yeah, we see it right there, the silhouette. It's outside on the office balcony. Those guys earlier that Bolo killed that had the Diffuser, which means, yeah, you got the bomb site, Soniqs, but what can you do with that? Not a whole lot. You got to retake upstairs, clear the roamers again, pick up the Diffuser just to go back to the bomb site, and you got 1 minute and maybe a drone or two to work with. That is not a whole lot, but it's Kensen and Grixer. If there was a duo that could do it, it's probably these two guys with the help of their teammates giving information.
Especially Grixer, who's been heating up thus far, and there it is. It's just Kansan. Don't even need Grixer to get involved. Kansan just walks into that top floor, gets 2 clean kills, and there you have it. The Soniqs tie us up.
That was way too easy, I feel like. Because, like, the TSM had Diffuser, they had the vertical control, they had really good positions, then Kansan just walks in and gets 2 kills. I also think that round in particular, Super with the Twitch gained so much value because he opened up both of the mirror windows throughout that round with the Twitch drone. He killed 2 or 3 of the default cameras inside the building, and those are very important later on because it's how they killed the Fireplace default cam, the Library default cam, and arguably, or most likely at least, the Basement default cam. So there were so many areas for TSM that were just dark because the Twitch drone doing so much work early on, which then pays off later. Not forcing Soniqs to walk into the building to gain that map knowledge. They will just deny it from outside with a single drone, or 2 Twitch drones rather.
As messy as it did get in the end with Kansan just walking up and getting kills, I mean, I do like the read from Soniqs earlier on to avoid that top floor, right? We saw how powerful, right? We saw how powerful the position Bolo was in, and he was not going to give that up easily. They both stayed on that top floor, even when that diffuser had been dropped, and even when site control had been snagged away. But it was a great read by the Soniqs to say, wait a minute here. If there's so much off-site pressure, Merkin games, and upstairs you have Bolo, why don't we just go direct? Great call, great read. It gave them site control. Yeah. It did sacrifice the diffuser in an awkward position, but until that point, it was a great read, and it worked out in their favor overall. So that's the kind of thing that they need to keep bringing out against a team like TSM, who generally will have these, pretty complicated setups, and they'll have several backup plans. Sometimes you just got to surprise them and throw those plans out the window.
Yeah, there is that famous saying, if I don't know what I'm doing, then you don't know what I'm doing either. So you can almost say that playing a worse strategy that is like a big of a surprise might overthrow a good strategy that is very commonly seen, because remember, how Pro League works is that you scrim, you practice the same strats over and over against the same teams. You are very familiar with your opponents in the NAL because you play them each and every single week in scrims and in pro play. So when you do something that's really unorthodox, something really weird, it works so well because you haven't seen it before. And Super, he's rushing site!
He's just in. He gets a free kill here onto Geo, who had no idea. There's nobody watching cams for TSM here, nobody providing the intel, and that will give them a whole lot of trouble. Chala, though, he'll come down the blue hallway. He'll take care of Super. The problem is, Achieved and Bolo, they are nowhere to be found. Now they're dead. Grixer's been taken care of quickly, but again, another trade for the Soniqs, something they've been doing very well. Just like that, Chala is left alone on the bomb site. He's got to cover both sides of this site. Both the garage push from the main stairs and the wine push that was coming in a moment ago, using these smokes in an effort to choke off a couple of these angles. But the problem is, he's now out of smokes, and Soniqs still have a minute 10 to work with. They can approach from anywhere. They can apply as much pressure as they want from any position that they want, and they can do it whenever they want.
This is so smart. What you do against a person in 1v3 is that you let him calm down, lose the adrenaline, just drone it, play super slow. You don't gotta do anything. This guy's stuck on site. Don't give him anything to fight with while that adrenaline is surging through his veins, and that's what they're doing. He's gonna go cold. He's gonna troll. He's gonna choke his bullets when he gets the gunfight because there's been so much downtime when he's been under so much pressure. Let's see if he can do it.
All the Soniqs got to do is just not let him have these 1v1 gunfights. They'll give him the first as Goddess just walks into his open arms. Now he's got the diffuser, and now he's in a very different position, because whereas Soniqs could just walk in at their leisure, now they've got to get this case, and they've got to do it quickly. Shotgun in hand, though, and the first blast is a little premature, so both of those Soniqs attackers just sprinting up the stairs. It didn't really matter. They were eventually going to get that kill. So Soniqs now take the lead for the first time.
Did. And Chalamet did go a little bit colder because he hesitated towards the end. Didn't aggress into the shotgun shell. Instead, he preemptively shot, then fell back, running with the back turned towards his opponent. That's not going to get you very far because you're going to get shot down. Super becoming the entry player for his team 2 rounds in a row now. Rushing the bomb site with good information. Unfortunately, Super was looking for the Kite Claw to enable his teammates to further breach the wall to then get in. And in the process, he got shot down. So a bit of a lack of follow-up from Soniqs, but it didn't matter because they found kills from Kansan across the map in West Main and bottom of West Main stairs. He found 2 of his own. Super found the initial entry, and that just put Soniqs on the map with the advantage. And now we're gonna go to Bar once again for this final TSM defense, and they're down 2-3. To be honest, with Chalet being attacker favored, this is not actually terrible for TSM if they can do what Soniqs are doing on their attacks. Then they're pretty even.
Right, on a Chalet defense, you need 2 rounds. You'd love 3, but 2 is really the goal. This map has, according to our stats, about a 43% overall defensive win rate, suggesting it is, in fact, slightly attacker-sided. And well, TSM, while they still have a chance here, it is at the very least going to be that 50-50 split, if not a little bit in the favor of the Soniqs here, if they can put 1 more round under their belt. You know, the 2 rounds that TSM were able to secure, one of them was pretty dominant, but the other one was a clutch by Geo. So consistency is really what they're looking for here in round number 6. Merc in this position where he thrived last time and gave TSM the round. He's going to come under fire very early, and Soniqs likely to be a lot more careful with how they position on these windows. They don't want to allow a C4 to collect another kill.
They don't. Oh, speaking of C4, it gets tossed out, but this time they have learned their lesson. No one is nearby, and now they got 4 grenades and 3 flashbangs combined to clear out the corner. One person has to hold the cross. That's going to be Yeti. Flashbangs come out. Kansan probably going to be the Nate player in this position, and Merc has to answer.
Well, he's just going to try to drop away, and he gets away with most, or at least some, of his HP remaining. Not most, because most of it was taken away by a good spray from Yeti, but at least he's alive, and he's got a mirror window downstairs, most likely, where he can play behind, maintain at least relative safety, and not worry about that lack of HP, at least for a while. Unless, of course, he gets aggressive, which, you know, Merc does tend to do from time to time, because right now, with really only Bolo upstairs to contend with this Soniqs pressure, Merc is not going to come under fire, at least for a little while.
Yeah, you might think, oh, you didn't get the kill, so they failed their attack. But no, you've handicapped Merc now low on HP. You forced out his C4, and you got what you wanted. Control of the library corner. That allows you for your step 2. That's Bolo on Chimney. They've opened up the mirror window. They're on the library windows, knocking it down, right? They can nade, they can flashbang. They can't quite jump in because of the vertical hatch being opened up. There's a guy below holding it. That's going to be the smoke, most likely. But they can now start working that 2nd level of library. Nate comes out. Doesn't really hit the mark, does a bit of damage, doesn't get the kill. But now Soniqs are in a bit of trouble because the time is ticking down. Bolo is still here, and they just jumped into library.
Now is where they really need to start picking up the pace. They've only got 45 seconds remaining, and now losing Super is going to slow this down even more. Geo still here. Bolo still here. The Soniqs only now moving in. Kansan will get the kill he was looking for. Chala will respond, though, with a kill onto Yeti, and now Geo's the next player in the line of fire. Dangerous to hold this position for so long, given the advantage that TSM held. May have rotated away there if I'm Geo, trying to get out there sooner and just play my life. But either way, it's a 3v3, and Soniqs still only have about 15 seconds to work with. There's still a mirror window. There's still a C4, but a beautiful nade not only removes that mirror window player, but removes the only C4 left. This will free up the plant to go down with 5 seconds left. Goddess can stick this. Now we're in a post plant, and Merc has to do all the work himself. 2 players on close angles, just a pre-fire around the corner from Kansan will finish it off, and Soniqs cap off a pretty solid half, taking it 4-2.
They did. Beautiful Nate usage by Grixer right now, really stepping up to the game. God is continuously impressing with reading the situation, droning the bomb site, gaining that intel, and then going for the decisive plant that is very, very safe. Every plant attempt that the Soniqs have gone for so far has gone down successfully, both in the cover area and the plant position itself, so good job for them. They get the 4-2 split that they wanted. They get the majority of the rounds on the attack inside, and now they're in the perfect position to show that they can also end up on the winning side of Chalet, because they've got the numbers. All they gotta do now, and I say this all, it's not that simple. All they gotta do is show up on defense and do like a similar-ish thing. then they can actually do it.
As we did just see, though, not easy to defend this
Not
map
easy.
against a strong attacking team, especially one, even one with a sub. I mean, Goddess, you know, even though she's not finding all those frags, she has done a great job on that supportive
I
role,
will
like
say,
you said.
on the supportive role, there is no doubt that Goddess would be a great addition to teams, even though she's been retired for a while. And she did that this game. You come into this game not even expecting to be a player, but rather a coach like she is. Rex, unfortunately, has tested positive, so all of a sudden, Goddess becomes a player. And then you play support in a Pro League match against TSM of all teams, and you're getting planch, you're getting injuries, you're getting drone work done. That is phenomenal.
I mean, you look at Grixer, though, he has definitely contributed in terms of the kill department.
Certainly.
Kansan as well, stepping up in a big way.
Hey, Super is 2-6. He is doing really good right now.
I mean, what is that, his kill average for the season?
That is about the kill average, give or take. And I remember last time Soniqs played Chile, I think Super went 0-7 or 0-8. Like, it was a lot worse. So, like, statistically speaking, across the board, Soniqs are firing on all cylinders.
Right, this is how the Soniqs play. This is, you know, when everything's clicking.
Yeah.
I mean, this is often how things look, even without, you know, one player here. I mean, it's still a big deal. They're still making moves and still looking good while doing it. They will have to, like you said, though, come up with a strong defensive half as well. TSM looking hungry, looking to get themselves back on the scoreboard, get some of that momentum back on their side, and, well, they're going to do it what appears to be a pretty traditional way to kick things off, right? Taking control of office and pressuring these top floor players out, forcing them to rotate away, establishing just the bare minimum of top floor control that you need in order to go for a plant down below. But maybe trying to contest this a bit too heavily will cost Merc his life, as Grixer on the long angle, just waiting for an opportunity like that, will step up and open up the round with a kill.
I'm surprised they put Goddess and Jaeger, not Super, because Super was on that Twitch on the attack, and he found 2 injuries himself. But I'm also very excited, rather is the word, to see Goddess in this front forward aggressive position, because she is literally the first area of contact for the entire side of Soniqs, playing inside that piano half wall, and she's swinging TSM. Unfortunately, gets shut down by Chala on the window, but she lasted almost 2 full minutes, and she held this ground for a very long time.
And she's done her job, because now TSM, they're getting torn apart here, and they simply cannot afford it at this stage in the game. They made the bold decision to clear out the entire top floor rather than just office, taking their way across the entire master side, clearing up through bathroom and through solarium, and that's cost them 2 of their lives. They've lost Chala and they've lost Merc. With only Geo on the hard breach now, they're not going to have as much freedom as they would have had Chala still been in play, but eventually they're going to have to pivot to this first floor site and actually seek to get this bomb down. There's only 40 seconds.
They do, but they have Sledge alive, so Chief is up above doing that vertical duty that he has to do. Still got 1 grenade as well. They got no flashbang, so unless they can find a vertical kill here, it's going to be all guns blazing. McKenzie says, I will swing first. That's a huge kill for them.
Achieved and Geo now have to find a way to get this back, but Kansan, look at this madman. He is swinging these vertical holes. He is challenging Achieved to do what Achieved generally does best, and that is winning fights as the Sledge on the vertical, applying the pressure from above, but he's unable to do so, and Geo is going to have to just send it into the site and pray for a miracle. Only 2 seconds remain. Geo is the last player standing, and there is nothing he can do with... You think that you're stronger in terms of the fragging capability. If you think that the setup on the top floor is weak, then you make that decision to clear it out. They probably underestimated Goddess and her ability to hold piano, being that first point of contact, underestimating the entire hold that Soniqs had on that top floor, and we saw the consequence of that. TSM, they bit off more than they could chew. They tried to get too much done, and they didn't have the time to accomplish all of that. Given just the time remaining, the utility they needed to use, and, well, the man count as it started to dwindle, as they started to lose bodies, at that point, they had to make that decision to pivot and go more direct. I imagine it was like, oh, well, we've already committed to this, let's just see it through.
Yeah.
But you gotta realize that with so few bodies left, not enough utility, not enough intel, at some point you gotta just cut your losses and change it up.
Yeah, there's like a very fine line that once you step across it, it's like, all right, guys, there's no going back because we've now committed too much to this. It would be a loss to go backwards as well. And I mean, the situation wasn't half bad, but then Kenson swung Solarium stairs and just got the kill onto Bola. And it's like, okay, now it's really bad because if Kenson can get away with that with like 30 seconds left, you're in for a really bad time of your TSM. Let's see if Yeti can do what Merc did, but in reverse, from downstairs instead. But first, Kenson. He found Merc instead. Merc is in every single opening duel on both the attacking and defending side, and in the later half of things, he's been the one to fall rather than the one to get kills.
Yeah, and that is not the way Merc needs to be contributing for his team. We've talked about the struggles this team has been having, and, well, Merc has, even through those struggles, been a pretty consistent fragger.
Yes.
And, you know, right now, going 5 and 8, not able to go positive on that flex role on the attack, so we'll have to see how that changes as things proceed. But TSM, they'll be looking to continue to take this map control, getting challenged here pretty aggressively by the Soniqs, achieved once again. Getting challenged on the vertical hole is not something I imagine he's used to defensive teams doing, seeing the sledge come in from above and just saying, screw it, I'll take the fight.
Yeah, I mean, something that's actually a little bit off right now is that Achieved is 1 and 6. Achieved is arguably one of the most consistent players of TSM, like, period. Currently ranked 2nd for his team with a .98 rating. He's -2 in KD, but he's +4 in entry. He's not having a great time, and as you're saying, he's getting swung on vertical. I mean, who is like the sledge player in all of Rainbow Six Siege? Probably Achieved. Who's getting swung and outdueled on vertical? Probably Achieved. I mean, that's what it looks like right now, and that's something that we don't typically see. Whenever I see Achieved sledging a floor, I'm thinking he's going to get the kill, and then he gets the kill. Right now, well, Soniqs, they are really fighting back.
Geo, though, he's got a ping, and he could get
free.
this kill. Yep, free kill with good intel. This is what TSM need to do. Now, Kansan will get one back. His 2nd kill on the round, and this one onto Bolo. That's going to be a significant hindrance. Losing your Finka at this point in the round, just when the execute phase is around the corner. So I guess TSM, they're just going to say it's time to go. It's time to send it. It's time to get this bomb down. Chala gets 2 very important kills. Of course, 1 kill was found by the Soniqs. That returns us to an even 2v2. But now that it's a post plant and that the garage breach is opened up, this one is very much in the favor of TSM. But Geo playing this aggressive. The bomb actually planted in the close corner. That means this exterior position is not super powerful. Unfortunately, Grixer had gone down, so the challenge had to happen by Goddess, and at the end of the day, it is Chala who wins that, who takes the fight and clutches up for TSM, but barely.
Chala making off that previous round on basement defense where he was in a 1v3 and couldn't find the clutch. This time, it's a different story. He fully commits, he pushes through, he actually engages himself in the gunfight rather than running away this time, and it worked much better for him. So, Chala appreciation post is always on Reddit. Thank you, Chala, for clutching for TSM. Thank you, thank you, thank you. 5-3 now, still favoring Soniqs. We still got a long way to go if you're TSM wanting to win this, and we are going to bar. So again, just like TSM is doing, we're just going through the bomb sites. We don't really need to repeat the same things because you do have 4 different bomb sites that are all playable in this meta of Rainbow Six Siege, although Master Bedroom is the least played currently and also has a pretty abysmal win rate. But bar, well, usually a good choice.
Oh, I just noticed Chala actually got a quad kill in that round, by the way.
Popping off.
2 when he dropped in the closet connector, and then 2 on the coverage. But I hate to harp on that last round one more time, but I mean, that was way closer for TSM than it should have been, right? They tried to rush and get that bomb down, and what it ended up happening was it was not in a good spot for the player outside to actually cover it safely. The I guess saving grace for Chala is that both Grixer, I think it was, and Goddess just did not coordinate quite as much on that push, rather that retake that they needed to. Grixer, instead of waiting for Goddess to maybe stick that diffuser and then provide the coverage, he swung first without waiting for Goddess to get involved.
Exactly what I was going to say. I feel like if you have Goddess diffuse, and when she starts getting shot, that's when Grixer swings, because then Chala has to make a flick transition mid-gunfight and choose his opponent. But instead, it was kind of just delivered to him. A little bit of all-sync on the side of Soniqs, but small mistakes can cost you. And this is one of those moments where when you're not used to being in the server, it can be hard to have that split-second synergy between Goddess and Grixer, who normally don't play together inside the game. Round 9. It's going to be a slow start here.
Yeah, slow start. TSM trying to get the rhythm back on their side. They've been losing these opening duels as of late. They've been in these disadvantaged situations. In that last round, they were one man down when it actually came to that execute phase. They're really going to be looking to alleviate that as soon as they can. Interestingly enough, they've actually already removed that top blue shield, doing it very quickly and very impressively, I've got to say, considering there's a minute 45 remaining. We don't usually see an attack up and successful with utility burn that fast.
I do agree, but at the same time, Crookstar has a nice read in the situation. Doesn't get the drone, doesn't get the kill either, but gets away with his life. That's enough for him and from the side of Soniqs, I think. But you're right. They've taken most of top floor control. They cleared out the shield in strong positions. Super on Chimney as well. Kind of isolated. Not very strong. Doesn't have a lot of support here. So if TSM can find 1 or 2 kills with the full map control, they're going to be in a good spot.
Well, here comes Merc just pushing in and trying to pre-fire that Blue Stairs player. Achieved trying to join him. He ends up getting down, I think, from below. Merc, though, is still here. He's going to make sure to prevent his teammate from getting finished off. He will provide the coverage onto Super, and, well, his teammate will be revived accordingly. A new nade from Merc coming in, but he's got to be careful. A swing down there from those main stairs leading into that garage will put Merc in a tough spot. He'll cook a nade in an effort to force Goddess out, and that will force her to back off and likely rotate back to the site. She's actually going to re-swing that, continuing to get aggressive here. Bolo trying to take a 1v1 engagement with no support. Yeti also alone. He wins it.
That was an ugly one because saw the gun barrel flick towards it, but he stepped backwards the right second. That is Yeti who gets the kill instead with a one-shot headshot, full HP on him. And now 20 seconds left. At TSM, you gotta go right now.
It's a 4v4, and here they come. Merc will open things up, and Chala follows it up, but Grixer with the trade. Now Grixer with 2. Can he get 3? No. Denied from above. Geo swinging in will take down Kansan, positioned in bar stock, and TSM start the recovery. That's 2 in a row.
Yeah, TSM playing a lot less for the, what should I say, objective of planting in these rounds, right? It's going to be for kills, and then once they get the kills, once they get the control, that's when they start planting. Whereas when Soniqs were attacking, their objective was to plant, and the kills they would get in the meantime, that was merely a bonus because they wanted that post-plant position. So a very different approach from both of these teams. I would say Super might have overstayed his welcome up on Chimney because Yeti fell down the blue stairs. Usually, if you're 2 roamers together upstairs, when one falls back, the second should probably follow. And here we have it. Who would you rather face in your go-to ranked game, Super or Bowler? And you said... What?
No,
that makes sense.
Face.
That makes sense. Sorry, I keep
face.
thinking on your team. I keep thinking about that.
Yeah, so
I was shook for a second.
you were right. This is what you predicted.
That's what I
community
predicted,
would
yes.
say. It's maybe a little closer than you would have predicted.
It actually is. Maybe people got it confused as I did as well. They're like, oh, what does that mean?
You never know. You never know. Who would you rather face? Looks like people would rather face Super. And if you look at the lobby right now, I mean, yes, that prediction would hold true, not by much. I mean, Super's 2-8, Bolo's 5-9. Not like there's a dramatic difference there, but
to be fair, Bolo plays like Fink and stuff, and Super plays Maestro on side. So I feel like they're about even right now.
That's fair, about even, right? We saw Bolo try to take a gunfight in that last round that did not go his way. So
happens.
Struggling to find that rhythm. That's been the theme of TSM and the Soniqs, to be fair, all stage long. They both obviously had nice wins in that last Playday last week. It was Soniqs over SSG 7-4, TSM over PB 7-4, which if you look at the standings at that time, were both technically upset victories. So at least they both had something positive last week, but both teams are hoping to end the stage on a positive note as well. It's still Soniqs, though, with a 1-round lead. TSM, they've made 2 rounds out of this 3-round comeback, but only 1 more away before they tie us up.
It does sound like odd or weird to say that TSM winning is an upset. Just looking back at February when they were literally like the best team in the world, beating everybody, and a lot can happen in a very short time, right? We did see 3 new maps, attack a repick, you don't get a long break, etc. And there's just this big toss-up in stage 1 where a lot of new teams, new players, and people are playing in a different way than you expect. And we even see Soniqs now with Goddess playing so much better than anybody would anticipate. And it's very impressive to say the skill level of Siege today, especially in the NAL, but also in other regions, is extremely high, arguably the most competitive it's ever been amongst the entire region.
Well, here in round 10, to focus on this top floor hold that Goddess is really spearheading again. I mean, this was what lost TSM their attack last time we were here. They bit off more than they could chew. Are they doing it again? Looks like it. They're really trying to force the issue on this top floor. The difference is they're putting Merc on the other side, hoping to provide some support from the back, but they're still putting all of their eggs into this top floor basket. And Goddess jumping out, punishing Chala for overstaying his welcome. A new swing comes in, though, from Bolo, and he will be successful in that endeavor, looking for 2, and he gets it. Goodbye, Yeti, and goodbye, top floor hold from the Soniqs. It did look a bit too much for TSM to take care of, but they finally alleviate that pressure. Now they have a chance at transitioning to an actual execute.
They do. We still got Super down below doing some damage, getting the injury, but the Finger Stim comes through, and that means that Gio gets to stay alive for a bit longer. We got one Toxic Babe on Kansen, 12 kills to his name, no impacts on Super, so wall deny there's none of. But the thing is, there's no hard breach either from the side of TSM. They have to go down the Solarium stairs, or they gotta go from Fireplace into Dining Hallway. They got limited options. They gotta go soon.
Once again, limited time. Kansen punishing Bolo for making a move. It's just Merc and Gio again. Vulnerable and low on options. Kansen with the first, and then the second. It is Kansen to clean it up and to finish off the round with a bang for the Soniqs. They move on to match point.
That's like 16 or 17 kills like Kansen, I think. We'll see in just a second, but that is absolutely ridiculous how he gets away with that on Solarium stairs time and time again. This jump out from Goddess, by the way, getting that kill, finding an opening, huge for her. Unfortunately, she got shut down together with Yeti afterwards, but still, the damage was done, and they also stopped TSM from gaining what they wanted. I believe there was a 15 kill situation for Kansen. That is a lot of kills in this time span, and it's been both an attack and defense, and let's double-triple confirm. Yeah. Grixer and Kansen tied 15. I thought it was 16-15 or something like that, but it's 15-15. Right now, there is a duo. Normally, Soniqs, they have like a trio. Normally, Rexen would join us. And I will say that Goddess has been doing her best Rexen impression because, again, she is sticking the Jaeger. You know, you're playing Bulletproof Gadget, you're playing ADSs, you can put down all your utility, and you're a spare gun. I do think it's a smart way of playing it because Goddess doesn't have to necessarily win her gunfights. You still get the full value of the Jaeger operator even if you die early. Whereas Super, who has more experience, can play the active gadgets of Maestro, of Echo, etc., where making the right decision and helping the team arguably is more difficult. So I actually do like what they've chosen to do with the lineup, given that they could have flexed it in any way possible. It seems like the right choice.
Well, TSM, as much as that comeback looked possible, and it still is, it's a little bit more daunting. Now they're staring down match point rather than just the number 5. Now it's the number 6, and, well, the consequences of finishing off the stage with a 7-4 loss. The consequences of this match, we haven't quite talked about it yet. TSM, if they win or really take Soniqs to OT in any capacity, they will hold their spot on the leaderboard and they will get those SI points. Soniqs, to just get into the SI points, to get out of the 9th spot, they needed a regulation win. They are 1 round away from getting that win and, you know, securing, 100 and something SI points. I mean, that is a nice reward for even a mediocre season. It would be fantastic for the Soniqs to walk away with that prize.
It's huge, right? You gotta think long term, and also Soniqs themselves, Super said this in the introduction interview before the match. It's all about stage 2 for them, right? Sure, stage 1, failed experiment, didn't work out, but they are here to stay, then they're here to win, and Super was very, very clear that if they start stage 1 with a roster, that's the roster they intend for the entire year. So getting a few points now is going to pay dividends going forward, expecting that you're going to be stepping up. And the same can be said for TSM, because if they want to make invite and not have to go through that open qualifier again, every single point matters. There's a lot on the line, even though you might think that this is a match of like second last place. It really is about the SI points that's on the table.
While TSM turning their attention to this bottom floor, trying to open up these hatches, open up these avenues onto the site. They do have the main garage breach open, and this is how we saw them really try to leverage that execute through earlier, at least the last time they were here. This time, maybe trying to get a couple of more options to work with. The hatch opened, Achieved doing his best work with that breaching hammer, opening up those angles onto the site below.
Yeah, opening kill as well. That's the shit that we know and love. Bolo follows up as well. That's TSM firing at almost all cylinders. We're just missing Merc getting active right now, and he's looking. Diffuser going down, same position as last time.
Yeah, here goes Gio, just trying to stick this plant. Yeti, though, starting to get active, getting some kills, but he'll get one before Merc will clean him up. Now it's a 2v3 as the retake begins, but Merc, he's popping off, and he is not going to be slowed down. It is now all up to Kansen. Yeti not in a realistic position to get him back up, so Kansen, he'll take the long way around. He knows there's got to be somebody on the blue stairs. It's Bolo to challenge, and Bolo who wins the fight. It is still TSM who hang on in this one. It's not over yet, Nick.
It is not. It seems like every single round is almost like a coin toss where, sure, previous round one team can win decisively, next round, different team wins decisively. It was a good read by TSM. They found 2 kills back to back, instantly pulled the trigger, rushing down the 5 stairs, tries to get the plant down. Cover is there, nobody else really dies in the process, and even if they did, the post-plant positions that they had available to them would be rather good because the breach was fully open this time around. That leaves us to possibly the final round. We are going back to bar. Looking at Soniqs, they have not won a bar defense yet, but they could. And they should if they want to win regulation, which would give them those sweet, sweet SI points. We are seeing a similar story up in the lineup-wise. We see the Mirror being brought out every now and again. We're seeing Grixis stick the Oryx. We're seeing Kansen playing more and more of Thorn. Yeti and Goddess, you know, Goddess has played a Rooney once before as well. She played it previously on bar. That's the one exception. She was playing that basement stairs and fireplace, swinging up constantly, getting some good damage onto Merc. Was on that office balcony area. We see TSM attacker repicking from Ace onto the floors. That's going to help you clear out library and top floor, you know, the shields and the strong positions, etc. So that's a good attacker repick for them. Keeping Geo on the Hibana for Heart Breach. And then Bola and Merc, LMG gang. Not much else to say.
Well, this is match point for the Soniqs, but I mean, for them, this is a must-win. It also feels probably for them like TSM are on match point because this is the make-or-break round to get them into the points. If TSM take it to overtime, they will get enough points to keep them tied with the Soniqs in overall points. They have a better round differential, so even a 1 or 2 round split in that overtime will not change it up enough to put Soniqs over the top. So TSM, essentially, their match is over for them if they win one more round. That's a job well done. You've got your SI points. GG, go next. For the Soniqs, it is win now. That's what they have to do, and it's going to come down to this top floor hold. We don't see them putting anybody actively inside of library. That's in part how TSM were getting into the building so fast last time. Instead, it is just Super in that chimney position and Yeti top blue.
Yeah, and there's no wall deny for this mirror window. So unless Super uses C4, this mirror window will open up, and it seems like a bit of a waste. So you play the mirror, but there's no mute in play, there's no Kai, there's no bandit, so it's a bit of a waste. But Yeti can find the kill onto Bowl. That's a huge pick out to think on this final round, possibly final round at least. And Super's position is compromised. But he can stay here for a bit. The wall is not fully opened up yet. When it does, it's time to either bail out or try and find a kill. And Grixis dusters down to Merc. Both LMGs off the table. 3v5 for Soniqs.
This is huge. The Soniqs are getting aggressive and just trying to swing on TSM to put this game away. And at least right now, I mean, it has worked beautifully. It's Merc and Bolo gone. You would think that these two weapons off the board mark the end of TSM's hopes in this match, but you've still got Chala. You've still got Geo, who's heating up. And even though Achieved hasn't made much of an impact, you know he can turn it on if he needs. He's so close to making something happen, but he's got to go big. Soniqs are poised. They're in a beautiful position to close this out.
They are. Jones coming out, yellow pings, a bit of information being shared between the members of TSM. Flashes and nades flying out. That's a good nade onto Super. Chimney position clear. We see Yen now backing off. He knows that he cannot overstay his welcome. They've lost the top floor area. They can hold the first floor instead. They got a minute to work with. Good use of the X-Cairo gadget from Geo, burning the gate for later on in the round should they need it. Devo Cam's getting shut out, hatches being opened up. Vertical play is possible. Achieved is alive, as you touched upon earlier. 3 Terror drones available for Chala as well. The Soniqs, they can sit still, they gotta hold their guns, they gotta win their fights because TSM will not make it easy for them. They won last time they attacked bar in this exact position.
Well, TSM, they're spending a little too much time on this top floor. It's about time they transition under the 20-second mark. Are we gonna see the hatch drop? Are we gonna see them rotate outside and just try to sneak their way in? Whatever it is, it's got to happen now. Geo makes the move, he gets aggressive, goes all the way to bar stock and dies, leaving Achieved all alone with no time left. Grixis cleans him up, and Soniqs take it in regulation, getting themselves into the SI points. That is a hell of a way to finish out the season with Goddess in the chair and the whole team feeling good.
Is it weird if we can say that Soniqs with Goddess almost looked as good, if not